is Tinotenda Denzel Vukuku. I was born in 2002, 19th of March. And I was born and raised in Mkoba, in Gweru, the high-density suburbs of Mkoba. And I did my primary school at St. Paul's Primary School, and I did my O and A levels at Matunura High School. Yeah, I think that's all. I'm a spoken word artist. I'm a poet. I'm a writer. I'm a voice-over artist. I think I do almost everything associated with art. I think I don't have a particular time frame where I started poetry. I would say my journey started in 2009, I think, when I was in grade 2. That's when I wrote and performed my first poem. I remember it was on cholera. Yeah, that was the genesis of my journey in poetry. And I think that I would say that's when I started doing poetry. I think 2009, if I'm not mistaken, there was a cholera outbreak there around that time. So there were people doing drama and dance all around the cholera outbreak and everything. So I didn't know what I was writing was poetry back then. I thought I was just writing something on cholera, and I asked my grade 2 teacher to just perform during assembly. And I remember there were delegates from the Ministry of Health and ADRA, if I have that right. They were around and they were very happy. And I think that's how I started writing. I think it's very hard to just by one word say what type of a spoken word artist I am or what type of an artist I am, because I'm divergent with my approach. I write about almost everything. You know, coming from the high-density suburbs of Mkoba, almost everything there is an inspiration to you. So you could find me writing about health right now. The next time it's about climate justice. The next time it's about divorce. The next time it's about drugs and abuse. So I would say my background shapes the kind of spoken word artist I am. I write about almost everything because where I come from, I see almost everything. So yeah, that would be my response. I think, like I listed before, my first poem in grade 2, after I did that cholera poem, I think it was around 5 lines, and they were very happy, and that was my first response in poetry I ever got. I think I received some money prizes and some Tito sops, and it's nothing now, but it was something then, because that was the first thing I got of poetry. So I would say that was the first thing. And some of the responses, I did a show in Blawayo. It was a poetry slam. I met this young man, I think he's around 14 or 13, he's in Form 1. And he recited one of my poems off the top of his head. And to be honest, you don't need someone to tell you how much you have impacted their lives, because that on its own is a statement. So I would say yes, yeah, I have had responses before, and those are some of the responses I've had. I think one of the lessons I learned it when I was in Blawayo, when I met that young man, because I got to learn one of the most important things in life, which is the power of words. I knew before that words have power, but that day was really a reminder how words can impact people, and that was the greatest lesson I've ever learned from my own art, which is interesting because sometimes you get to write poems and expect people to learn, but when you learn from your own art, it's deep and you can't hide away from that. For me, contrary to the reply you would get from other spoken word artists that poetry is a way of venting, of letting out whatever it is, for me, I would say poetry for me is a calling. Because honestly, I find myself writing about stuff that I barely understand in real life. But I have people even older than me telling me, no, this is really something. So at the end of the day, I can't say I'm smart, I can't say I'm intelligent. I would say that's just generally God. And I believe spoken word to me, poetry in general, it's a calling from God. I wouldn't say God God plays a role in my art. I would say I play a role in God's art because I believe that John in the Bible, in his first book, John 1 verse 1, the first verse, he says, in the beginning there was the Word. The Word was with God, and the Word was God. So the best definition we can ever give to the Word is the Word is God. So you can't separate Word and God. So spoken word in itself is an art from God. Even the existence of light itself, it's a testimony of the power of words and how God means his word. So I wouldn't say I wouldn't say God plays a part in my art. I would say I play a part in God's art of spoken word. And what's my part? I try by all means to make his word relatable to my generation. There's making it more acceptable to the youth, because there has been messages about repentance. And to be honest, taking a 65-year-old pastor to preach to someone from my generation, yes, it can happen, but barely do they understand each other. So I'm there playing a part in God's art by just being there, making the word more relatable to my generation, because the word of repentance has been there. But if I come through and say, "Pacharira tsuri pachatipisira," they would understand because they relate to the kind of language that I'm using. So I would say that's the part I play in God's art of spoken word. It's generally the issue that I highlighted earlier on, the issue of making things relatable, even the art of spoken word, comedy as an art, because there are issues that are very hard to address. But if it's addressed through comedy, you would understand them better, and it's a better approach. Because I could want to tell you to stop doing what you're doing, and if I just come at you and tell you straight like that, you tend to be, rebellious against it. But then when it comes through comedy or spoken word art that is catchy wordplay and everything, because someone could tell you, stop whatever it is that you're doing. But then I would come to you and tell you, at the end of the day, uchazofa. And uchamuka wakafa, ufe wakamuka. So that wordplay is funny, but at the same time, it speaks to you. It's like I think generally I would say that's what I like about art. It either lightens heavy things, and makes words more acceptable. And generally, yeah, that's what I would say I love about art. Honestly, I believe when you use the word future, it sounds like it's some strange place that will never come. But to be honest, the future is always approaching faster than we think and more radical than we can imagine. So I would say the future is today. So where I see myself in the next minute is exactly my future, because we make the future now. Tomorrow is not even guaranteed. So I would say almost every time I ask myself, whatever it is I'm doing as an artist, what am I trying to achieve? Who am I reaching out to? Who is it benefiting? And what is it doing to me in the next minute? So I would say what I'm doing now influences what I'm doing in the future. So generally, I would say I would want to see myself saving lives, impacting young people. Because coming from the high density suburbs of Kobe, I'm sorry, I'm going to reference that because it is exactly what shapes me. We have had role models, right? People who are just there, and they don't know that they are our role models. Getting in school in Form 1, and then there's that guy in Form 4, you're looking up to him, and he doesn't know, but from a distance, you're looking at him, and you're following almost everything that he's doing. So I would say I would want to impact lives, because I believe that there's some young man somewhere, some young boy who's looking at me and thinking, I want to be like this guy. So every time I make a move, I'm asking myself, is he destined for for greatness, or am I misleading him? So yeah. That goes back to when, I don't remember, but earlier this year, there was a guy, I think his name is Leon Manawa Jose. I think you know him. So I used to interact with him in many groups, and I was following his art. I told you there's always some young guy somewhere following some guy. I was that guy. I was following his art, and I I bumped into his Bring It On uh, competition. I don't remember. He's a rapper. Yes, he's a rapper. And I wanted to know more about it, but I actually never got to ask him. But then with time, I was scrolling my Instagram, and I actually found out there was a Bring It On contest, and yeah, I just applied for it and went for it, and I'm here.